Back in studio here, and I'm going to jump right into my interview with Nuria Samuels. She's an author and just 24 years old. Very interested to talk with you this morning. Good morning, welcome.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, that's a big accomplishment in itself. You're 24 years old and you're already an author of a book, and we have the book here, and the name of that book is The Second Time I Fell in Love with Jesus,
Yes.
A Testimony of a Pastor's Daughter. All right, so let's talk about you first. So you're 24 years old, you have written a book already. How long has this book been in the making?
Actually, it took a rather short time to get the book together. It's only been a year since I
Really?
thought about it, wrote it, and published it.
So you had to be very good at writing. How long have you been involved in writing?
Since I was a child, it was more of something for catharsis, and it just kind of happened to be something that I happened to fall into.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So
I'm actually doing counseling.
really?
Yes.
What do you counsel on anything in specific or a specific group?
So I'm in the mental health world. I work with the Mental Health Association, and what I do is help people to, have a regular daily life and to navigate in society without any mental problems.
That's fantastic. You know, mental health is a big issue that we need to hear more about, and we need to take a little more seriously, especially in the Caribbean, because still there's that stigma, you know, that if someone says they has mental health, they or automatically think of them as crazy or something, when it's not the case. You know, something such as depression, that's a mental health issue. You know, so if there's one message you would like to give to the viewers and to the wider Caribbean about mental health, what would you say?
I would definitely say, as I said in the book, that you always have a second chance to make things right. You always have another time to start over. And the more you mess up, the more you become a master of your circumstance.
Amazing. All right, so the name of the book, The Second Time I Fell in Love with Jesus. Now, how is it that you had to fall in love a second time? Like, what was your journey like?
So yeah, everyone asks that. It's because I actually fell out of love the first time. And the first time involves me just growing up in the church with my mom, because she's a pastor of my church. It's called House of Esther Divine Ministries. And I had that love affair with Christ, but being estranged from my mother, falling into temptation, I fell out of love. And community, spirituality, and family brought me back.
So let's talk about the parts of your journey in which you, quote unquote, fell out of love with that. What, if you're willing to share, of course. What was it that disenchanted you with it to begin with?
I think most of all, it was the estrangement between me and my mother. You know, sometimes when things happen to us, we think like, why is God doing this to me? And I think that was my situation. Because that had happened, I thought that I had been forsaken. So it caused my relationship to dwindle and for me to pull away.
But over time, you know, there was something that happened that brought you back to it.
Yes.
What was that? Do you remember this specific moment when you realized, I need to go back?
Yeah, it had a lot of different aspects and perspectives, but most importantly, I think it was the community that I surrounded myself with in my church, and them uplifting me with positive messages and positive thinking. So.
And was your relationship with your mom like now?
Awesome. She's here with me,
Oh, that's
and
great
she
news.
supports me in everything that I do. She's pushing me very hard. She's the one who actually influenced me to publish my story.
That's amazing. You
Yeah.
know, so, you know, going from one phase of the relationship where it wasn't too great and now being at the point you are now, you know, that transition, how was it? Was it something immediate where, you know, things weren't so great and then they became great and you just like, oh yes, you just opened yourself up to it? Or was there a phase by phase journey that you had to like get back that closeness with your mom?
Me and my mom was always close, but you know, everyone has fallen out, and that's what happened. And it was very easy to fall back in, because once the love is always there, it's very easy to reconnect with family, friends, anyone.
You know, and there's nothing quite like a mother's love.
Yes.
All right, so we have the book here, and you know, it's a testimony. You know, so it's a very personal story that you've shared.
Yes.
And I just want to borrow this book so I can hold
Sure.
it up so the viewers can see what it looks like. All right, so this is the book, The Second Time I Fell in Love with Jesus, a testimony of a pastor's daughter, written by Nuria Samuels, who I have the pleasure of chatting with this morning.
Yes. Thank you.
And just give us a brief synopsis the book itself?
So the book covers and highlights my journey as a pastor's daughter, starting off in church, being estranged from my mother, going through temptation, and then coming back in, and it highlights now my adult life as a woman, walking in Christianity, being spiritual, being educated, and just trying to live a well-rounded life.
Definitely, and you are also involved in, you're also like a motivational speaker or counselor as well.
Yes.
You know, you deal a lot with the youth, more so female youth. Tell us a little bit about your push for self-motivation in your counseling.
So as someone who has suffered from low self-esteem, I think it's very important to self-motivate and to work towards wholeness. So I actually advocate for women in domestic abuse situations who have suffered through sexual abuse, and a lot of my work revolves around women and youth. I run a parenting group that has morphed into a women's group because of so many issues that we tackle. And I also mentor, which people can book on my website. So my website is actually www.nuriasamuels.com, where people can directly message me and tell me about any issues that they're having, and I can help them navigate those situations.
Well, Nuria, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning and sharing.
Thank you.
Rishi, I know you probably want to weigh in here.
Yeah, because you're 24 and you graduated in NYC.
Yes.
How old were you when you went across?
Very young. I was a child.
Okay.
Yes.
And what has that experience been like for you? Because you have a BA in Human Services and you're currently pursuing a double master's in mental health counseling and divinity.
Yes.
What is divinity?
Divinity, I like to say, is kind of sort of pastor school. It's where they teach you a little bit of Bible and a little bit of skill, so you can learn how to navigate a congregation and navigate your community through a Christian lens.
So expect greater things from you, and when you become the bestseller, you will be back here to share with us.
Yes, of course.
All right.
Of course.
Well, Nuria, it was a pleasure having you. It was very good to sit down and listen to you, and all the best with your work. Carry a lot of exciting talent.
A lot of exciting talent,
yeah.
And the next time we chat with you, will probably be Pastor Nuria Samuels.
Highly possible. Highly possible.
That'll be fantastic. You know, it'll be great to have seen you go from this stage into that stage. So who knows what the future might bring? But looking forward to the bright future you have ahead of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. So here's what we're going to take a short break. We're going to be right back after these messages.